Yep. Good morning, everyone. So last session we learned about class members. So class members, we have a property, another one accessor. So what is the purpose of property? The purpose of property is to store data. Data is stored in properties. What is difference between storing data in a property and a variable? What is difference between storing data in a property and in a variable? We discuss a difference between variable and property. Na? What is that? Variables are immutable. Properties are mutable. So we can control read and write operations on a property by using accessors. Accessors are used to control read and write operation on property. Next, we have methods. So we will see what is a method. So method is nothing but, so it is similar to a function. So difference is function is immutable and method is mutable. And functions are not allowed directly not allowed as class member. So function can be defined within class as member of any method. That's what we can do. That means directly in a class, you cannot write a function. But in a class, we can have a function. How we can have a function defined in a method? So actually, logic is defined by using method. Logic is defined by using method. So whatever logic is there, the logic is defined by using the methods. Generally, logic is defined using function. Functions cannot be defined in a class. So logic is defined by using methods. Here, syntactically, so we have a class name, and we have a method, and it is just written like a function. All method related parameters are same. Everything same like function. That means all basics about method are similar to function. That means it can have one parameter, it can have multiple parameters, it can return values. Whatever function related, it can have spread, it can have rest. All rules are same like function. Only the point, it doesn't have any keyword, just name and parenthesis. All other rules are similar to a function, how you define for a function. So let's see here. We are defining some rules. So we are creating any class, and generally a class and class is defined with a name. Class name some product. In this we have name, some name, and we have some price, some value, and we have quantity is some quantity, and we have total. Total is a function, means it's a method. We don't use any keywords or anything, just name. And it can return, or it can be void. Void type means without any return. Suppose it should return quantity into price. How we can access members of a class inside class? By using which keyword? This dot quantity into this dot price. After that, we have a print method. It should print all details. Document dot write. I am printing name. This dot name, and in the next line price. So that is this dot price, and we have quantity. So this dot quantity, and we have total. Total is we have this dot total. Total is a function we are configuring in that. Now, how to access? Simple. We will create an object for that class. Let obj is equal to new product. And through obj, we can access print. It is going to print all the details. That means you see it is able to access and print the details. Suppose if you want to provide new values, already they are printing with some values. If you want to provide new price, new quantity, then you can simply here, before printing, we can ask obj dot price. We will take parse int. So parse int, some prompt, and enter number. Enter number. So enter number is nothing but we will say enter price. Similarly, you want to take quantity also dynamically, then obj dot quantity. We say parse float. So, or here we will use parse float. And here we will use parse int. And prompt enter quantity. Like this. Now, what is the point is, at that time it will ask price. You entered some price, and you entered some quantity. It will display that result. We can take values dynamically and we can present. So the methods in a class are same like functions outside the class. Generally, in an object, the logic is defined using functions. In class, logic is defined by using methods. If the method is parameterized, you can pass parameters into that. This is a simple point because already we learned detailedly about functions. Same concept is related to methods. Why we cannot have function? Suppose you see inside class, if I try to write a function, it is not allowed. It says that only constructor or method, accessor or property was expected. Functions are not allowed in a class. If anyone asks why functions are not allowed in a class, same point. Functions are immutable. So class cannot have immutable members. Class can have only mutable. That is important. So this is one small example for that. So if anyone asks a question, can we Can we define function as class member? Answer is no. It is immutable. Hence, it is not allowed as class member. Another point is, can we define a function in class? Both are not same questions. Huh? Can we define a function in class? Yes. As a member of method, you can do that. As a member of method, you can define a function. So that is the basic. So how the class members are configured. So this is important. So in class we have property, in class we have a accessor, and in class we have a method. There is another member in class, that is constructor. Actually, what is purpose of constructor is, so it is a special type of subroutine in class, which is used for instantiation. Instantiation means creating object. That means constructor is used to create an object for class. That is what actually constructor purpose. Many times people have a wrong idea about constructor. Generally, when we ask programming learning people, it should be called initializer. It should be called initializer. Why it is called constructor? Its name is constructor, means it is related to something constructing. What it is constructing? It is constructing an object for class. What constructor will do is, it will create an object for class. If there is any problem in constructor, then object cannot be created for a class. Whether you can create an object for class or not, that depends completely on constructor. Actually, every class have an implicit constructor. Every class have an implicit constructor. Internally, every class is having a constructor. Every class internally have a constructor. Then what is the purpose of this constructor is creating objects. If you want, you can write a constructor explicitly also. Already constructor is present. If you want, you can write explicitly. If already constructor is present, why to write explicitly? Because at the time of constructing an object, if you want any extra work to be done, that work you can give to constructor. For example, see, suppose I will give one example here. Suppose we are having some application. We are having some application like this. Suppose we are having some application. In that actually we have a class. So we are having a class called database. This is a database class. In this database class, we have some methods, some actions like insert, like update, so like delete, like this, some methods are present. Now here we have some buttons, insert button, update button, and delete button. Now when you click insert, here there is some database. Now what should happen? When user clicks insert, we have to create an object for this class database. Through that object, we have to call insert method, and that insert should perform insert operation on database. That means first what we have to do, create object for database. Through that object, you can access which method, insert, and it will insert. But you cannot insert without connecting with database. So first point, every time we need to connect with the database. First connect with the database, then insert. Connect with the database and update. Connect with the database and delete. Then if I give that connection work, to a method, connect is another method. If I give that work to a method, every time we need to call this method. Before inserting, we should call connect. Before updating, we should call connect. But now, if you give that work not to a method, if you give that work to constructor, you don't need to call the constructor. Every time when you call insert or update or delete, automatically first constructor is called. So constructor is a special type of method which executes automatically. You don't need to call. In a class, if there is a constructor, it runs automatically. That means if any work you want to be done internally, automatically, without calling, then give that work to constructor. At the time of creating object, that constructor will execute. So you don't need to call it again and again. So see what we will do now here. Actually, here some more rules points we have to know is generally constructor is anonymous type. Anonymous type means, anonymous means without name. So it is defined using constructor keyword. It is defined by using constructor keyword. Syntactically, we write like this: class name, and a constructor, and it doesn't have a name. Generally, in other programming languages, constructor have class name. That means C++, Java, .NET. In all other OOP languages, constructor name will be the same name as class name. But here, constructor is anonymous. It doesn't have name. Here, I'm creating an object, let, obj is equal to new class name, and how to invoke constructor. Constructor is invoked by using parenthesis. Actually, if you don't give this, then by default constructor invokes. Even you don't give that, it will invoke. When to give this? If you want to pass some parameters into constructor, then you have to give. So many times we have a doubt like why class is written like a method. Class is not written like a method. Here we are using a pattern called IIFE. Already I told you what is IIFE pattern. IIFE means what? Immediately invoking the function expression. Here which function is immediately invoked? Constructor. The constructor is immediately invoked after the class name. Even you don't write it, it will invoke. Then why to write? No need to write. You have to write only when constructor is parameterized. If constructor is parameterized, then you have to write. Otherwise, no need to write, right? So that means now see how to write here. See, I will give one simple one. Let's create here. So buttons like insert and like update and like delete. And here we will put some class. We are writing a script class database. Sorry, database is just a class. Okay. In this class, we have ordinary methods like insert, document dot write, record inserted. This message will come. Similarly, update. So here same document dot write, record updated. And we have another delete, document dot write, record deleted. These are the messages. Now, before inserting, updating, deleting, one activity is compulsory. Then we will give that to constructor. Constructor generally in other programming languages will have same class name, but here it is anonymous without any name. And constructor can be parameterless or parameterized. Parameterized means I am giving DB name. DB name is database name. And here I am defining document.write. So I will say connected to DB name. We will put the DB name. So that's it. That is the option we need to define, connected to the database. Okay. Now what we are doing here is below, we are creating a drop down. In this, we have an option like Oracle, like option MySQL, like option some MongoDB, something like this. Now, when the button click, I will write here on click. This is insert click. And this is on click, update click, update click, and another one on click. So that is delete click. These are the functions. Now what should happen is when user clicks insert, update, delete, we write a function here. Function insert click. What should happen? We will create an object for database. But in the database constructor, it is expecting database name Constructor is parenthesis. Into that constructor, we need to pass database name. Document.query selector select dot value. That is the value which is database name. After that, obj.insert, that is insert. Similarly, we will write, so here, update click. And here we are calling which method? Update. We have another one, delete click. And here we are calling which method? Delete. Delete method we are calling. That is what actually performing. Now see what happens when you click on insert. So select a database and click on update. It says connected and updated. When I click on here, so MySQL and delete, connected and deleted. This connection is automatically working. This is working automatically for every object. This work we given to whom? Constructor. If you give the work to constructor, it will perform before the work you given manually. That means before the method is executed, the constructor will be executed. So before execution of any method that you call, the constructor will execute. So that is the reason if any work you want to be done before that method is executed, then you can give that work to constructor. Actually, lot of points are there about constructor in general OOP language, not here. In JavaScript, this is only about constructor. One more point you will see next level. Generally, people who learn OOP concepts in Java, .NET and all, static constructor, private constructor, protected constructor, constructor overloading, so many topics are there. Here, we don't have anything. Here we have just only constructor and its purpose is define activities to perform at the time of creating object. That's it. Other languages, so much will be there. But here JavaScript have only this purpose for constructor, right? So what is the role of constructor? The constructor role is to define activities to perform at the time of creating object for class. Why to give that to constructor? Because constructor can execute automatically. If I give it to any method, you have to call that method, but constructor, we don't need to call, right? So constructor can be parameterized or parameterless. So in JavaScript, constructor cannot overload or cannot have any access modifiers. Access modifiers means like public, private, and all this. Etc. They cannot have. That is the basic point about constructor. It can be parameterized or parameterless. So example for that. So is this. This is the example for this constructor. This is about the members of a class. In JavaScript classes, what are the members and how to handle them? How many members are there in a class? 4. The properties, the methods, accessor, another one constructor. Next important, we need to understand code extensibility and reusability. Code extensibility and reusability. Extending the code and reusing the code. Generally, what is extensibility and how we can achieve? Actually, suppose we are creating another one. Suppose we are having just first roughly I will give. Suppose we are having a class HDFC Bank version 1. HDFC Bank version 1. That is a class. That means we developed a bank application. And in that bank application, first version, it have personal, and personal contains personal banking services. And we have NRI. This is NRI banking services. Okay. These are the two members we are having, and we have a print. Print is going to print those two details. Document dot write, this dot personal, and in the next line, so this dot NRI. It is going to print those two details. Now, after few days, we want one more facility to add into the tab. Now, to add one more facility, here the point is generally what software developing does is they build a new version. In that new version, they will add a new feature. And in that new version, all old features are continuing. One new facility is added. Now the question is, why you are developing a new version and adding the new feature? Why you are not modifying this version? We want one more feature to add. Then add in this only. But we don't do like that. Why we don't do like that? Question understood? Huh? We want to add one new feature. My question is, why they don't edit the existing version? They will leave the existing version like that. They will build a new version. In that new version, they will add a new feature, and they will ask the clients to install that new version. Why they don't modify the existing version? For example, you see here, suppose we installed so many. For example, we have Node.js. In the Node.js, you can see 18 is there, 20 is there. Why 2? 1 is enough now, 20 is enough now. Why you are giving old version if new version is released? If new version is released, why you are still having old version to download? Question understood? Right? Why they give a still old version to download if new version is there? Why they developed a new version by keeping the same old version? Actually, if anyone asks this question, that means why we need. So we have to extend the code without modifying the existing. We have to extend the code without modifying the existing in order to achieve backward compatibility. This is important. In order to achieve backward compatibility. What is meant by backward compatibility means even a new feature is available, we can still use the old. The backward compatibility is nothing but even there are new features, we can still use the old features without using the new. That means even you install new version, old features will be working. So backward compatibility, why you need this backward compatibility? Why you need backward compatibility? Because suppose, best example I will tell you, you are using laptop. Which Windows you are using? Version. Some people are still using Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11, like that. Current version is some Windows 11. Why still people are using Windows 10, Windows 8? Okay, you are using Windows 11. If I ask you why you are using Windows 11? Latest. What you know latest in Windows 11? Tell me what is latest in Windows 11. You don't know anything. You are just using because it is there. You don't know even a single feature. Right? If I ask you why you installed Windows 11, latest, sir. What latest? What in your mobiles you will tell. In Android 14, iOS 20, some new features are added. We can tell them. Similarly, in Windows also you can tell if you know that. That means generally, if we ask people who are using Windows 8, like why you are not updating to Windows 11, they will ask, why should I update? And you will say that there are some new features. Then he will say that I don't want them. And in order to use those new features, I may need more memory. I may need more configuration. And if my laptop or tab is not supporting, then I can't install new version. I will go with the old. Just because you released a new version, I can't purchase a new mobile or a new laptop. That means you must make your software even available for backward compatible. Even there is a new version, you should still make the old version available so that people who cannot use the new features because of their configurations, they will still use the old. For example, this is there everywhere. Suppose you are using Gmail. In Gmail, how to attach a file? In Gmail, to attach a file, they will ask drag and drop. You can drag and drop the file is attached. But sometimes your internet connection slow down. When internet connection slow down, then Google people will notice that. They will see that your internet is very slow. Then they will ask you, shall we switch to HTML version? They will say that your connection is slow. Do you want me to switch to HTML version? When you switch to HTML version, now your emails are available. You can send emails, but drag and drop will not work. but you can attach. How to attach? Click browse button, select the file, attach the file, then send. That means if high connection speed is there, I can drag and drop. If high connection speed is not there, will I stop attaching? No, still I can attach, but there is another process. So without disturbing the existing version, several softwares build the new version. Why? Because that existing version may be still in use. By disturbing that, we will disturb all the existing people who are using that application. So that is the reason we need code extensibility. Code extensibility means add new feature without disturbing the existing. Then what we do is generally how we can achieve that. That means you can achieve code extensibility and reusability by using two techniques. We have two techniques. One is aggregation, another one inheritance. Aggregation and inheritance. We have two techniques. We have aggregation and we have inheritance. What is difference? What is aggregation and what is inheritance? Actually, aggregation is nothing but aggregation means it is the process of reusing the members of one class in another class by using instance of class. So it is known as object to object communication. So it is referred as has a relation. We call it has a relation. Object to object communication, and we call it as has a relation. That is aggregation. Has a relation, object to object communication. So here what we define is here in this, we will keep options like this. So I will remove this class now. Means let's add the complete code. Okay, in the head section, I am adding this. Okay. We are writing another class. What is the class? HDFC Bank version 2. In this version 2, what we are doing is here we are adding one more new facility. One more new facility is here I will add something like loans. Here I am defining some housing loans. So car loans, something like this we are defining. Okay. All these are having line breaker, right? Now we are adding all this, and here we are using a print which will print these details. Document dot write, it will print this dot what? Loans. But in the second version, this new feature is there. But in that second version, all the first version features must be there. In addition to all those features, one more extra feature. What is it? Loans. Now the question is how you will access these inside the second version. Will you again write them? We will not again write them. Here, one more point is actually aggregation allows to reuse members of one class in another without configuring any relation between classes. Without configuring any relation between classes, we can manage that. Without configuring any relation between classes. Without configuring any relation between classes means, so there is, these two classes are separate. So this is separate and this is separate. There is no link between them. But how you can access the members of version 1 in version 2? Simple. What we do in version 2 print method, we will create an object for HDFC version 1. Through that object, we can access print, which will print the first two details. That means what is this obj print is doing? It is printing the first version details. That means, is there any relation between version 1 and version 2? No. Without any relation between two classes, we can access the members of one class in another by using an object of class. So that means you are creating an object for version 1 in version 2. Through that object, you can access all. Print means it will access everything. So this mechanism is called aggregation. Now what we can do here is, we will write here a BR. Okay. Here we are creating a simple drop down, like install HDFC bank app. We will give here a drop down. So select, have an option. Option says select version. In this option, we have, so version 1. So we have a value VR1. Similarly, we have version 2. This is VR2. And we have a button install. And on click, so install click. On install click, we have to install that version. So we will create a function install click. On install click, we will collect the version document dot query selector, select dot value. That means we have to choose the value from there, drop down value. We are selecting the drop down value. 1 second. Okay, right. So here we are having a drop down value. One second. Okay, so here we are defining select value means what is the value? We are having the value version 1 or version 2. Then we will write a switch case. Into the switch, we will pass the version. What is it? Case 1. Case 1 is what is the case version 1? If it is version 1, we will create an object obj1 for which class? HDFC version 1 class. And through that, we will access print method obj1 dot print. It is going to print that version details. Then break. Similarly, we will copy second version. This is version 2, obj2 version 2 and obj2 dot print. If default this they haven't selected anything, document dot write, we will say please select a version, okay, and break. Even which version they installed we can display here. Before printing, we can print document dot write a heading version 1 installed. This message we will give with a heading 2 close. The same here we will put version 2 installed. This is the message. Now when install click, then we have to check which version they selected and show the features. Now let's run this and see. Here you will find, so select version 1 or 2. If I select version 1 and install, it will install these two features. In that we are having two features. Suppose I am selecting version 2 and install, it will have the three features. That means even the latest version is available, we are providing a choice so that they can select the first version. This is code extensibility. Without disturbing the existing version, we must able to build the new version. But in the new version, all old features should continue. That means we don't need to write them again. Without writing them again, how you can access them? Two techniques are there. One technique is aggregation. Another is inheritance. Aggregation means without creating any relation between the classes, you can access the members of one class in another. You can access the members of one class in another. That is through object. We call this as object to object communication. This kind of relation is called as has a relation. This is an example for that. Let me copy this example. This is called aggregation. Same thing we can achieve in another way also. What is the another way of handling this? Same thing we can achieve by using another concept, that is inheritance. Inheritance. Inheritance is nothing but it is the process of extending and reusing the class members in another class by configuring relation between classes. So it is defined, it is referred as is a relation. We call it as is a relation. Aggregation is called as has a relation. And this is called as is a relation. We have is a relation. Right? Has a relation and is a relation. Right? So the process of extending and reusing the class members in another class. Previously, what we are doing, without configuring any relationship, we are using. But now we can configure the relation. How do we define the relation? This is the process. Actually, how we define relation is, we will create class A and we will create class B. In class B, we want to access the members of class A. Then just we have to use extends A. That's it. That means you don't need to create object. Without creating an object of class A, the members of class A are now accessible in B. How? So you can access the members of class A in class B by using super keyword. So existing class A is known as superclass. We call superclass. And extended class B is known as derived class. So inheritance comprises of two classes. One is super, another one derived. The existing class is called superclass and the newly created class is derived. Derived class can access the members of superclass by using simple super keyword. So without creating object, we can access the members of one class in another. This is called inheritance. We call it as inheritance. So inheritance is configured by using the keyword extends. Inheritance is extensibility. It is defined by using the keyword extends. This is extend D extends. So how this works, we will see. Same example. Same example, you remove that object here, scene. Let's remove that here. I will go to the design here. Two classes are present. Now remove the object of first class here. That means now version 2 contains just loans and print loans. Now version 2 should able to access the members of version 1. Then version 2 extends version 1, HDFC version 1. That's it. If it is extending version 1, then what will happen now? In the print of version 2, how we can access the print of version 1? Just by using super.print. Super.print is nothing but the members of super are accessible here. We don't need to create any object. Now we have a relation between classes. Now you see here, we are using this mechanism. Same concept, nothing changed. Only here remove object. You extend your class and you can access using super keyword. Right? Now let's run this and see. I selected version 2. Both options are available. I selected version 1. Only the first one is available. Right? You are not selecting any and install. Please select version. So we are selecting a version and installing. It will get version 1, version 2. This is the concept of extensing inheritance. Actually, in inheritance, we can also have generally. So you can configure multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance, which is extending a derived class. So generally a super class is extended. If a derived class is again extended, then it is multi-level inheritance. That means usually what happens, class A and we have class B extends A. And we have like class C extends B. This is called multi-level. You can have any levels of inheritance you can have. That means the members of A are accessible to B. The members of B are accessible to C. That means you create an object of C, you can access both B and A members. Because B is already accessing A. That means C can access the members of both A and B. But remember, it will not support. So that means anywhere multiple inheritance is not supported for classes. Multiple inheritance is not supported for classes. That means we have class A and we have class B and we have class C extends A comma B. Like this, if you try to write, this is invalid. So you can have only multi-level. Multiple is not supported. So generally, if anyone asks why multiple is not supported, for that, the technical answer is multiple inheritance is not supported for classes because of constructor deadlock. We call that mechanism as constructor deadlock. Constructor deadlock is nothing but, actually here one more rule I will tell you about constructor, one more rule we will see. So what is actually inheritance rule is, another rule I have to explain here. According to the rule of inheritance, the constructor of derived class must call superclass constructor. According to the rule of inheritance, the constructor of derived class must call superclass constructor. Constructor of derived class must call superclass constructor. That is the rule actually. Actually, this rule is internally managed in other languages, Java, .NET, C++. What these technologies will do, internally follow. You create an object for derived class, then automatically first base class constructor will execute, then followed by derived. But JavaScript don't follow this. That is the reason inheritance will fail if you don't follow this rule. That means I will show you here. First, let me show you multi-level. So what is multi-level? Nothing but add one more option. What is that option? Class HDFC Bank version 3 extends HDFC Bank version 2. Here we have some agree something. This is like government schemes, bank schemes. Like this we are defining. And we have a print. This will print first super dot print, and after that document dot write. It is going to print here. What is it? This dot agree. It will print those details. Like this we will have, right? Now what we need to do, one more extra we need to add here. What is another case? Another case is version 3, object 3, and version 3 installed. Create an object and access them. This time we are having one more version. So here also we need to add another option. What is it? VR3, version 3. That is. Now you can see we selected third version, then all the features will come. All 4 features are there. When you select the second, these features are there. And when you select the first, then only these features are there. So extensibility we are achieving by using multi-level inheritance. Here the rule I will tell you, observe. Suppose see, I am creating a new file. In this file, let's keep here. Yeah, here we are defining a simple script. In that script, we are adding, so class super. This is having a constructor. This is a document.write. So we are giving super class constructor. Okay, that is the option we are giving. After that, we are having a class derived. In derived class, this derived class extends superclass. Now in this also we have a constructor. Previously there is no problem. Why there is no problem? Because this is derived class constructor. There is no problem because we don't have constructors written in classes. By default constructors, they will run, but we don't have any constructor. Now we have constructor. I will create object for new derived class. Now, very important, as per inheritance rule, derived class constructor cannot execute without executing superclass constructor. If a derived class is extending superclass and you created object for which class? Derived class. Which constructor should execute first? Super. After that, derived. Always the rule of inheritance, first superclass constructor, then derived. This will happen in all OOP languages internally, but in JavaScript, it will not. That is the reason when I run this, you can see it will display that option. When I run this, 1 second. Yeah. So here you see derived class constructor and inspect. In the inspect, you will find one error. Observe carefully what is the error we are having. In the console, this is the error. And see the error, what I explained, the point what I explained. According to the rule of inheritance, the constructor of derived class must call superclass constructor. That is the point. It says that must call super constructor in derived class. That is the basic rule. This rule is everywhere. In all loop languages, this rule will be there. In C++, Java, .NET, everywhere. There internally, this rule is implemented. That means internally, this is implemented. But in JavaScript, we have to manually do that. Then how to call the superclass constructor in derived class? We have to do that by using, in the derived constructor, we have to use super keyword like this. This will be a very important point later when you are learning JavaScript based technologies like Angular, React. There, this is very important because there we take existing classes and extend them. When we take existing classes and extend, everywhere this problem will come. Because those existing classes may have a constructor. And if you don't call that constructor in derived class, the newly created class, inheritance will fail. This is a very common thing in all major technologies these days. That is very important to know and implement. In JavaScript, the superclass constructor must be called in derived class constructor. If superclass and derived class don't have constructor, then no problem. You don't need to call. This is only when there is a constructor in superclass and there is a constructor in derived. You may say that there will be default constructor, no problem. They will execute only explicit constructor. Now the problem is solved. Now you can see it will work here. That means the superclass constructor and the derived class constructor. That is the basic concept how it works. These are the rules. This rule is very important to follow. This is another one. And this is called inheritance rule. Now, why I said multiple inheritance is not supported? I told you one point, that constructor deadlock. Why multiple inheritance is not supported? Constructor deadlock. Constructor deadlock is nothing but in any technology, the reason is same. Constructor deadlock, any technology. Suppose you have super 1, we have super 2, we have super 3, three super classes. Every class have a constructor. Every class have a constructor. Every class is having a constructor, right? Now what happens? You created a derived class. This extends super 1, super 2, and super 3. And here we are, as per the rules, we are having a constructor. As per the rules, we use the super keyword. Am I right? Super. Now the question is, which constructor will be called? It is not like super 1 is first, super 2 is second, super 3 is third. Then do you know what will happen now? What will happen is, in the memory, generally in the memory, one constructor should load. Then what is happening here is, what will happen in this situation is, this constructor, this super 1 constructor is waiting for super 2. Super 2 is waiting for super 3. Super 3 is waiting for super 2. Super 2 is again waiting for other. They all are waiting for each other. No one is going into memory. That means all are waiting for each other. No one is going into memory. This situation is called deadlock. That means there is no priority in super classes. All are super class. Then which constructor should go to? This is the problem. This mechanism is called deadlock. Deadlock is a multi-threading mechanism. Multi-threading mechanism means it is like a small gate is there. Through that gate, only one person can go, and two people are waiting for each other. Waiting for each other. No one is going. This is called deadlock in general. That means deadlock means this person is not proceeding, this person is not. Both are not proceeding. It deadlock. That means no constructor will load. If no constructor will load, inheritance is incomplete. So why multiple inheritance is not supported for classes? That is because of constructor deadlock. That is the major reason actually, right? This is the concept of inheritance, how inheritance works, right? Next, another important feature we are having, that is polymorphism. What is polymorphism and how this polymorphism works? That we'll see tomorrow, right? In tomorrow's session, we will finish this OOP concept, and tomorrow we will discuss about events. And once we are finished with events, now we will, events means here we have some advanced topics, but that means very advanced level concepts. Then simultaneously we will start backend also now. That means database and MongoDB and Node.js and JavaScript combinations we will see. Then we will have end-to-end examples, right? That we will start in the next session. Tomorrow we will do, right?